You clipped the coupon this morning. You skipped the coffee, brought lunch from home, checked 3 stores before buying the cheaper detergent, and felt genuinely proud walking to your car. That pride is real, and that habit is not the problem. The problem is what happens to the money you just saved. Nothing. It goes back into the same account it always goes into, and it will sit there, quietly, doing absolutely nothing, for years. So here's the question that should keep you up tonight. If frugality worked, why are some of the most careful spenders you know still broke at 45? One belief you were taught to trust completely is the answer, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. How does someone who never wastes a dollar end up with almost nothing saved, while someone who eats out twice a week ends up wealthy? Not through luck, not through a secret inheritance nobody mentioned. The real cause is a mix-up almost nobody catches, because it feels like the responsible thing to do the entire time it is happening. What actually determines your future is not how little you spend. It is what happens to the money after you stop spending it. For most frugal people, the answer is nothing at all. The money gets saved and then it just sits. And money that only sits, no matter how carefully you protected it, is money that quietly loses the whole game. Here is the belief, stated plainly so there is no confusion. You have been taught that cutting spending is the finish line. Skip the latte, skip the vacation, skip the new phone, and eventually you will be rich. But cutting spending was never the finish line. It was only ever step one. Saving money and growing money are two completely different skills, and frugality only trains you in the first one. So you get extremely good at not losing money, and you never learn how to make it grow. And that one missing second step, repeated for decades, is what quietly keeps disciplined people poor. Consider Denise. She is 41 and works in accounting. She has clipped coupons since her 20s, drives a 12-year-old car with no payment, and has never once carried a credit card balance. Every outward measure says she is doing everything right. Her friends call her the responsible one. Here is what almost nobody knows about Denise. She has around $60,000 saved, and every dollar of it sits in the same basic checking and savings accounts she opened at 22. Not $1 is invested, not because she is careless, but because to Denise, safe and in the bank are the same word, and investing has always felt like the reckless thing other people do. 20 years of genuine discipline, and her net worth looks almost exactly like someone who saved half as hard for half as long. The discipline was never the problem. The finish line she was running toward was, now put Marcus next to her. He is 33, earns less than Denise, and by his own admission is not particularly careful with money. He eats out often, still travels twice a year, and has absolutely made a few impulse purchases he regrets. But at 24, almost by accident, he opened a retirement account through his first job and never turned off the automatic contribution. It was small, unglamorous, and he barely thought about it. 9 years of not thinking about it later, that account alone has grown to roughly $95,000, more than Denise has after 2 full decades of careful saving. Marcus was not smarter than Denise, and he was certainly not more disciplined. He simply put his money somewhere it could grow, and then he got out of its own way. That is the first front nobody warns frugal people about, and it is working against Denise's account balance while she sleeps tonight. Saved cash is not automatically safe cash. We are taught that keeping money in the bank is the responsible choice, the mature choice, the thing a careful adult does. But money sitting in a standard account, no matter how hard you work to put it there, has quietly become one of the most reliable ways to lose value over time. Start with where that frugally saved money actually lives. Most big national banks still pay close to nothing on standard savings, often around 1/100th of 1%. Leave $10,000 there for a year, and the bank thanks you for your loyalty with about $1. Meanwhile, the national average inflation rate has recently run above 4%, meaning prices are climbing 400 times faster than your careful savings are growing. Your money is not standing still while you protect it. It is walking backward every single day, no matter how many coupons you clip to get it there. Take Denise's $60,000 again. At that rate of inflation, sitting in an account paying next to nothing, that pile quietly loses more than $2,400 of real value in a single year without her account balance ever dropping by a cent. Stretch that out across the 20 years she has been saving, and the erosion is not measured in thousands. It is measured in the six-figure fortune she could have built instead, evaporating silently while she felt proud of every dollar she never spent. There was no crash, no dramatic loss, no red number flashing a warning, just a slow leak dressed up as safety the entire time. Here is what should genuinely unsettle you. Frugality did not fail Denise because she was bad at it. It failed her because it was never designed to build wealth on its own. Cutting spending protects the money you already have from disappearing today. It does nothing to make that money grow tomorrow. Those are two different jobs, and doing one extremely well while skipping the other completely is exactly how a careful person ends up broke. So that is the first front, the rot. Now comes the second front, and this one is sneakier because it hides inside the very identity that makes someone proud to call themselves frugal. Extreme frugality does not just fail to grow your money. It actively trains your brain to avoid the moves that would. Here's what I mean. Years of telling yourself no to a $5 coffee build a mindset centered entirely on scarcity, on avoiding loss, on treating every dollar as something to be protected rather than deployed. That mindset is incredibly useful for not overspending. It is almost perfectly designed to make you terrified of the stock market. Investing requires accepting that your balance might dip on a given month, might look smaller next Tuesday than it did today. To someone whose entire financial identity is built around never seeing a number go down, that feeling is unbearable, so they avoid it entirely, and they call that avoidance being careful. This is the part that stings. The exact discipline that makes someone excellent at saving is often the same discipline that makes them terrible at investing, because the two require opposite instincts. Saving rewards, avoiding risk completely. Investing requires tolerating short-term risk in exchange for long-term growth. Denise's 20 years of practice made her a black belt in the first skill and left her a total beginner in the second, and nobody ever told her those were different sports. Consider what that scarcity mindset costs, not in emotion, but in dollars. Suppose Denise had simply moved just half of that $60,000, $30,000, into a basic low-cost index fund 15 years ago instead of leaving all of it in checking. At the market's long-run historical average of around 10% a year, that $30,000 alone would have grown to somewhere near $125,000 today. That is not money she would have needed to earn through more frugality, more coupons, more sacrifice. It is money that was simply waiting for her to stop being afraid of it. Here is a number worth sitting with. Recent surveys show that a large share of Americans who describe themselves as frugal savers still keep the overwhelming majority of their net worth in cash, rather than in any form of investment, even those with decades of saving behind them. That is not a story about a few overly cautious people. That is millions of disciplined, hardworking savers quietly losing a war they do not even know they are fighting, because someone taught them that not spending was the whole assignment. There is a third quiet force at work here too, and it deserves its own name because it disguises itself as virtue: identity lock-in. Once being frugal becomes who you are rather than something you do, changing the strategy starts to feel like betraying yourself. Denise does not just avoid investing because it feels risky. She avoids it because some part of her genuinely believes that spending money on anything, even on her own future growth, makes her less responsible, not more. The label that once protected her from debt eventually became the very thing keeping her from wealth. She kept playing defense long after the game had already moved to offense. If this is landing for you, if you are starting to see a little of Denise in your own banking app, do one small thing. Subscribe to the channel. Everything here exists to make this kind of money clarity feel calm and doable, instead of overwhelming, one honest breakdown at a time, and subscribing is simply how the next one reaches you. That is the only thing I will ask of you. Now let me show you the shift that actually fixes this, because it is smaller than you think, and almost nobody frugal ever makes it. The fix is not to become less careful with money. It is to redirect the exact same discipline you already have toward a second skill you were never taught: growth. Frugality trained you to protect every dollar. Now that same dollar needs a second instruction, not just do not disappear, but go to work. The two instructions are not in conflict. They are supposed to run together, and almost nobody was ever shown how. Here is what that looks like in practice. Not theory. Keep exactly the habits that protect you today. Keep skipping the subscription you never use. Keep comparing prices. Keep avoiding debt entirely. None of that changes. What changes is where the money you save actually goes the moment you save it. Instead of adding it to a pile that sits, you assign it a second job automatically. A portion moves into a high-yield account earning a real rate, so even your short-term safety net finally grows instead of quietly rotting. A portion moves into a simple, low-cost index fund, untouched, left alone to compound for years. So the discipline that once only protected your money now finally builds it too. Denise did not need to become reckless to fix this. She needed one afternoon and one decision: to open a brokerage account, move a portion of that idle $60,000 in, and set up an automatic monthly transfer so future savings would never sit idle again. Nothing about her daily habits changed. She still checks prices, still avoids debt, still feels proud walking to her car. The only difference is that her money finally has two jobs instead of one. And for the first time in 20 years, it is actually working as hard as she is. That is the real lesson hiding underneath all of this. Being careful with money was never the mistake. Stopping there was. The people who build real wealth are not the ones who spend the most freely, and they are not the ones who sacrifice the most either. They are the ones who took the exact same discipline frugality gave them and pointed it somewhere it could finally grow. Same habits, same care, completely different life 30 years out.